Hi, welcome to Comptroller's Corner. I'm your host, Pat Curry, joined as always by Buffalo Comptroller Mark Schroeder. Our top story today, Fitch has upgraded Buffalo's bond rating to AA-, the highest rating the city has ever gotten from the rating agency. The AA- rating is one notch higher than the A+ ranking Buffalo got in April and the city's highest current ranking. Now, Mark, not only is this the highest rating we got from Fitch since they started rating the city in 2010,
right,
but it's also, being in the AA category, the highest rating we've ever been able to hear that Buffalo's ever had from any rating agency.
Yeah. It's the highest rating we've ever had in modern era. And so we're very, very excited about this. And I can tell you, Patrick, it kind of began on October 17th. It was an important day for Buffalo when the school board and the teachers, had to make a decision on the school contract. And I had made a decision that day that I was going to play offense, and I was going to call all three rating agencies to let them know that I'm not intimately involved in the school contract, but I do have the responsibility of letting them know the financial facts. Because if they don't get the information straight from me or from the comptroller's office, then they can make their own conclusions, which sometimes can be dangerous, right? And so we did all of that, and then, much to my surprise, 3 days later, we received in the mail from Fitch an opportunity to pitch them on the city. What we actually did with the other two rating agencies, we were just talking to them about the contract, about the teacher's contract. But because Fitch went through a criterion change, methodology change, that gave us, municipalities and others, an opportunity to talk to them. And in doing so, we had a very good session with them, and it's obvious that we've elevated from the upper medium area to a high grade category of which you already mentioned, AA-, and we're only 3 notches away from prime time, AAA, which is going to take some time, but at least we are now, we have goals to get there.
Now, normally the rating agencies rate us right before we go out to the bond market in the spring. Fitch's last rating of us, the city, was in April, and that was prior to our going to the market for general obligation bonds to fund the city's capital projects.
Correct.
Now, you mentioned that Fitch did a little changing of their methodology on how they determine cities and municipalities and how they're rated. And when they said this, they said, really less than 10% of municipalities' rating would be affected by this new methodology. However, you and your management team took the opportunity. Fitch requested a call with your office, and you worked at the administration, and you took that opportunity to brag about not only what the Comptroller's office and the administration is doing to shore up the city's finances, but also in the past 6 months, all the different economic development good news that we've gotten either from the governor or from other sources of very good news, Solar City and Tesla, and other economic events that have gone in Buffalo's favor over the past 6 months. And you used that opportunity to Fitch, and with great effectiveness.
And not only that, Patrick, but one of the things that's important in terms of our management of the Comptroller's Office, Audit and Control, is that we are very aware of our surroundings. And so we weren't surprised when Fitch, said to us, you're going to have an opportunity to talk with us because we've changed our methodology or have adapted it a little bit, amended it a little bit. We already knew it, and Ann Forti-Sciarrino, who was an outstanding first deputy, she participated in some webinars a month before this opportunity, so that she could understand what their criterion change is. And as you recall, our management team came together and we did a prep session. We went through what we believed the changes were. But before we had an opportunity to present to Fitch, we gave them an opportunity to tell us what the changes are so that we could listen collectively. And you're right, we did it not only with the comptroller staff, but we also always invite the mayor's cabinet person. In this case, it was the Commissioner of Finance, Donna Estridge, and also we invited the CFO of the Buffalo Public Schools. And we get together, we prepped together, and then we did the call together with the analysts of Fitch. And teamwork is important for matters like this. And I'm very proud, especially of the Comptroller's office and also the Mayor's office and the Superintendent's office. We worked together on this, and we've earned this AA- rating.
Now, this is the first upgrade the city's gotten from Fitch, but there's been 3 upgrades. Each
Yes.
of the big 3 agencies has upgraded the city since you've been controller. You took office in 2012.
Yep.
Moody's upgraded the city in 2012 to an A1 rating, and Standard & Poor's upgraded in 2014 the city to an A+ rating.
Yeah.
Now, those ratings were catching up to Fitch. Now that Fitch moved into AA category, you're hoping the other 2 rating agencies follow suit.
Right, and what you said earlier is going to be the case. The next time that the 2 other rating agencies really look at us will be when we go back to the marketplace. This was an anomaly. This was different because Fitch changed their criterion. They wanted to give municipalities an opportunity to present itself, and then they would make the judgment whether or not we stay the same, go lower, or go higher. And so, next, as we enter into the first quarter of 2017, we will be prepping and preparing and getting ready for the conversation with Standard & Poor's and with Moody's. And they already know that we've earned this upgrade. So this is beneficial to the city of Buffalo, and we're just delighted.
Now, we've talked about this on the show before, but you gave Fitch Ratings a full day-long tour of the city of Buffalo just last year.
Yeah.
And you said that it's important that they see what we're describing and see the new Buffalo, see the cranes in the sky and the shovels in the ground in order to get a sense of what's really happening in this city. And you took them to Solar City to see the new solar manufacturing facility being built there. Will be the largest in the Western Hemisphere. You took them to the waterfront, not only Canal Side, which was huge also, but also Outer Harbor and the Buffalo River, which you had a part in helping to develop, and also the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus, which the goal of putting all those entities under one roof is to foster the kind of innovation that has already resulted in 130 startup companies being founded at the campus. So this is important to you to show them with their own eyes what's happening in Buffalo.
There's no question about it. In my first year as controller, my management team, we went to New York City and we went to visit all 3 rating agencies. And there I understood for the first time that certainly they're interested in the ledger sheet, in the numbers, in the financials, in the general fund and how much are in all of the different categories. But they were extremely interested in what's happening in the city of Buffalo from an economic development standpoint. And so you're right. We seized that opportunity to invite them to Buffalo. And then we did all of the things you said. But most importantly, we aligned with people who are really in the know. Howard Zemsky, who is the governor's #1 person for economic development in this state. He spent time with the rating agencies. Congressman Brian Higgins, Matt Enstis and company at the Buffalo Niagara Medical Campus. Just fascinating, and it worked for us, and we're just really thrilled about it.
And you took Moody's and Standard & Poor's on a similar tour just a few short years ago. And this tour, now that all 3 rating agencies have seen it, has really left a mark in their head as far as what's happening in the new Buffalo.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And so now the next objective is to get a AA- rating from the 2 other rating agencies, and I feel that is possible and that can happen, and we will do everything we can over the next several months to ensure that. And then we also know what some of the other components are in order to get us higher in the high grade area category. And so we've identified, if you don't know it, you can't get there. We know it, and we're just going to take our time and work on it. And it's just a very good time for the city of Buffalo from a financial situation. Being perceived by the rating agencies really helps us.
But one thing to keep in mind is, although Fitch went on a tour of Buffalo last year and they rated Buffalo back in April, a great deal has happened since then that you felt they needed to be up to date on. One of them is the deal with Panasonic, that they'll be having solar panels manufactured and batteries manufactured at the Solar City plant. Also, the merger between Solar City and Tesla, which will help help the merged company move forward. Also, some interesting statistics. Buffalo is in the top 5 in the nation as far as home value prices increase in the past decade. The only cities doing better are Austin, Denver, and Honolulu. We're number 4 with a 20% increase in home prices, and that will affect the city's revaluation of its property when that happens. Also, the governor was in town to announce $1 million for a study of a new train station. 43 North gave its prize money away, and the Roswell Park was just awarded trials of a lung cancer vaccine that could be a total game breaker in the medical field.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And all of those things we talked about to the rating agencies. And also what we've always done is we use third-party indicators as well. The comptroller can be the cheerleader and say rah, 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 but it's also important that others are saying the same thing. And as you know, there are economists here in Western New York who have given us some information which we have shared with the rating agencies. Eva Hassett from the International Institute has also given us some information, because the rating agencies have to wait each decade to look at census numbers. We use the opportunity to give them some information that we receive from a third-party indicator. And so these are all things I believe that have helped us. But I really do think, Patrick, one of the most important things is the management team that we have in the Comptroller's office. We've gone from 1 CPA 5 years ago to 9 certified public accountants, knowing how to work in a professional manner with the administration and with the school district. And I can tell you, it's recognized by the rating agencies. I know it.
Now, you mentioned the school district. You mentioned before that city has the school districts came to agreement with its teachers, got rid of a 12% logjam and getting a new contract for teachers. They're under contract, and the city's white-collar, blue-collar, fire, police unions are now all under contract. One thing that you pointed out to the rating agencies is that now there's only 27 city employees that are not under contract. Now that removes a great deal of uncertainty surrounding the city's labor costs, which was the number one cost for the city.
Yeah, no question about it. And the rating agencies, they knew, I've only been the comptroller 5 years. They knew that there's been no teacher's contract for 12 years. They knew about the police and fire. It was extended long periods of time before they came together. They know all of that. That factors in to their overall equation of how they see Buffalo. By having those things not obstacles anymore is extremely helpful. But we have to be mindful of is that these new contracts, police, fire, teachers, they expire in short order. And so the administration needs to follow suit in doing the best they can to come up with a reasonable contract that's beneficial to the city and that's good for our employees, and that will be the next hurdle we have to get through.
Now, Mark, we have to take a quick break, but I want to talk more about Fitch Upgrade when we get back.
Sure.
Stay tuned for more Controller's Corner after this message.
The Buffalo Employment and Training Center is your one-stop source. The center conveniently brings employment, training, and other workforce services to customers and employers in a one-stop environment. And the center is open and free to anyone seeking employment. If you are out of work, not happy with your current job, or are looking to improve your computer skills, the Buffalo Employment and Training Center is right for you. We are conveniently located in downtown Buffalo at 77 Goodell Street with plenty of free parking. So, what are you waiting for? Give us a call at 856-JOBS. That's 856-JOBS today.
Hi, welcome back to Comptroller's Corner. If you're just joining us, we're discussing the recent upgrade the City of Buffalo has received from Fitch to a AA-. And Mark, as we discussed, this is the first time the city's been in the AA category in recent memory. And some of the reasons that they gave that why we obtained this ranking in the AA category is that we have healthy available general fund reserves and strong gap closing ability to offset the potential effects of a moderate economic downturn. Now, that is a line I took right from their rating report.
Yep.
And it goes along with what we've been saying every time we discuss their financial about the importance of keeping healthy reserves, especially when, for instance, the economic crisis that occurred in 2008, in order to give the city a cushion so that these economic downturns don't have a potentially devastating fiscal impact on the city's finances.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And so I've said this before. I don't have these big ears for nothing. I do listen to what the rating agencies have said. And over the last 5 years, they've made it abundantly clear that we need to have at least $100 million in the general fund. And Patrick, you probably recall one scary year when the mayor's folks put out a 4-year plan that actually showed it under $100 million, which I was panic-stricken by that because our word is important when we tell them something. And so we quickly resolved that and explained to the mayor and to the administration that it's important that not just the comptroller has said to them, but also, Mayor, your cabinet member and the superintendents, we've all said this together. We have to honor what we've said. And so there's no doubt that these are important things and that we will continue to look at the most important things that the rating agencies are looking at. I think also, Patrick, just quickly, the viewers need to know, what the ratings are. There were times, there are certain municipalities around the nation who have a D, not a AA-. A D would indicate they're in default. And then there's C. That means the municipality is a substantial risk. Who wants to be involved with them? And then there's a B, which is a non-investment grade, which means they really can't do anything to help themselves. And then it wasn't too long ago that Buffalo was in the lower medium, BBB. And then working together, we elevated to the upper medium, A, and then we earned the A1, A+. And so now we are in the high grade category, and the next opportunity for us is to elevate from a AA- to a AA, and then to a AA+, and then to that prime time AAA. And so that's the place we want to be. We're elevating this way, and there have been time after time after time, municipalities across New York State and other major large states like California, they're getting downgraded. Buffalo upgraded 3 times in the last 4 years. We're on the right track.
One of the efforts that you've taken under your responsibility is to reduce the city's debt burden. Now, the city's debt burden has always been remarked as high by all 3 rating agencies, but they did commend you in past reports about the policy of issuing less debt than is retired each year. Now, since you've been controller since 2012, the city's debt burden has reduced by 25%. That's taken off a quarter of the city's debt burden, and that's because of the responsible borrowing that you're doing. Instead of going to the market for the maximum amount every year, you only go to the market for projects that are ready to go,
right,
and it's less than what's going to be retired in that year.
Right. Yeah, and I think that's important. And one of the things, as you were talking, I was thinking about, I was rushing over here from a training session. We have a certified public accountant firm who helps us. I know the next segment you want to talk about is the CAFR, so they assist us in doing that. But we've had 7 training sessions over the last 2 days, not only with audit and control, my employees in the controller's office, but we've invited others from the administration so that all of us can understand and do the best we can. And why do we do that? Is because my employees, they determined what our mission statement is and what our vision statement is. And our vision statement is to advance as a world-class financial organization by unleashing our full potential. When we do that, we put ourselves in an opportunity. We set ourselves up for success to get these higher ratings from the rating agencies.
One other line I'll pull from this rating report from Fitch is, Fitch looks favorably on management's effort to codify many of the policies required by the control board so that best practices remain in place. Now, I just want to refresh the viewers' memory on this.
Yep.
When you were controller in your early part of your first term, the control board, the Buffalo Fiscal Stability Authority, as it's officially known, moved from control period to an advisory period, where they lost much of their control and much of their essentially veto power over the city. Now, one of the things that you said at that time was, and you actually drafted legislation,
which is unusual,
and handed it off to Councilman Fontana, I believe.
Yeah.
And you drafted this legislation, which would codify, which would make permanent one of the most important things that was instituted by when the Fiscal Stability Authority came around, is that's the 4-year long-term financial plan. And you said just because this authority is going away doesn't mean the 4-year financial plan should go away, doesn't mean long-term financial planning should go away. And you put that in a legislation. It was passed unanimously, and it's now part of the city charter. And here we are a few years later, and Fitch is looking very favorably on that.
Yeah, that was one of the most important things I believe we did in the controller's office, and it is a little unusual for a controller to draft legislation, but we felt it was very important to do, because a lot of times, Patrick, what happens is politicians get back to their norm. They get back to where they're most comfortable. And over the last 5 years, and we give credit where credit is due, we have given credit to the mayor and also to the Common Council for budgeting in a very conservative way. It's important, and we need to continue to do it. It was a long, long period of time here in Buffalo where the elected officials did not govern. A group of people from the control board who weren't elected by the people, they were governing because of the situation that Buffalo got into. So it's important to stay disciplined, and we will, no doubt.
So Wall Street's obviously taken notice of Buffalo and the progress the city's made, not only in shoring up its finances, but also in its economic development. But all these grades aren't just a number, they're not just a letter on a sheet. They actually have fiscal implications on the city of Buffalo. So 3 upgrades, 1 from each rating agencies in 5 short years. This has an effect on the city's borrowing costs. Now, the better grade that we get from these rating agencies, which means a lower interest rate we're going to pay when we go to the marketplace and borrow for these capital infrastructure programs. So every time we get an upgrade, that's money in the bank that we're not spending on interest costs. And anyone who has a home loan or a car loan knows that that could be pretty significant cost generator for anyone, and especially when you're going to the market for upwards of $20 million in a given year.
Patrick, I cannot wait, really, I cannot wait to go to the marketplace next year, because I've noticed over the last couple of years investors who would never, ever look at Buffalo, out of New York City, out of Chicago, out of Boston, they are investing in our bonds. I know who they are. I watch it. And we even go there. I've gone to New York, and I've gone to Chicago, and I'm going to go to Boston to meet with potential investors and tell them the story that we've been telling the rating agencies. And so it's very, very important. And you're right. By getting a higher grade, we're going to get more attention, and therefore there's a benefit to the citizens of Buffalo financially. And so we're going to just continue to stay disciplined and do what we're doing.
Well, speaking of reports, Fitch did their report, and you just issued a report last week Now, this is the Comprehensive Annual Financial Report,
Yeah.
often referred to as a CAFR.
Right.
It's required by law that you complete this, and many other agencies are involved in this. So you're almost dependent on the school district, the Urban Renewal Agency, the Municipal Housing Authority, the Sewer Authority, and all the various city entities in order to do your report. And oftentimes, in past years prior to you being controller, this would cause a large delay in how soon this report was issued. And you're proud to announce that this is the earliest that the annual financial report has been issued in many
Yeah, I
years.
think since George O'Connell was the controller, back in the
1980s?
early 70s, actually,
Early 70s?
1972 or so. But yeah, this really is something that's very, very important. And as you indicated, it is required. President Eisenhower actually required this a long, long time ago, that all municipalities have to do this CAFR. It's very arduous. It's very long. There's like 179 pages of pure numbers. We have a partner, Drescher Malecki. They are specialists, certified public accountants who help municipalities. They help us. And so also, but what's most important also is that the work that we do is important. It's good to have it timely. We do it timely. But the GFOA, the Government Finance Officers Association, every single year they bestow upon the accounting division in the Comptroller's office an award for excellence in doing this work. This is so important. This is so essential. If this wasn't done right, I can assure you that we would be answering questions to what was wrong with our CAFR, and we never would have an opportunity to talk to the rating agencies about an upgrade. You have to do everything right in all three divisions: audit, debt management, and accounting. And we're working with everybody to the best of our ability to make Buffalo shine. And we're just excited right now. This has been a very exciting year for Buffalo, and we just want to keep it going.
Now, we only have a minute left,
Sure.
but it's November, and you had the opportunity to observe Veterans Day recently.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about Veterans Day.
Yeah, so what's important is that I'm an amateur historian, so I can talk about the armistice. I can talk about, President Calvin Coolidge making it Veterans Day. I can talk about the history of Forest Lawn. And I went to 3 or 4 different events last week. But let me tell you what I want to talk about. Students, young people, especially from our high schools, Buffalo, McKinley High School, the Western New York Maritime, Hutch Tech. These young people dominated the presence at Forest Lawn, honoring our veterans. At Timon High School 2 weeks ago, our student body, along with Notre Dame Academy, 7th and 8th grade, Public School 72, Lorraine Elementary, they came together to honor all of the Timon veterans, alumni Timon veterans who served. And so when I see students connected to veterans, it was the best Veterans Day I've ever seen here in Buffalo and Erie County, and I was delighted to be a part of it.
No, maybe you'll have some future military service members and future veterans among those students there.
I hope so. I hope so, and I'm just so proud of our young people for honoring those who have served our country.
Well, Mark, that's all the time we got for Controller's Corner. Thanks for joining us.
Happy to do it.
Thanks for joining us at home. Make sure to check out the Controller's website at city-buffalo.com/controller. Of course, our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and our Twitter handle. On behalf of Mark Schroeder, this is Pat Curry signing off.